Look up there. You see the painting near the ceiling? They hung it that high on purpose, because the fine people of Paris kept trying to attack it with their canes and umbrellas. But who paints something a whole city wants to destroy? A man who had everything: family, money, good looks, friends in high places. Everything except the one thing he wanted the most: respect. And to get it, he'd go against his father, cross an ocean, and let a whole city laugh in his face. And after everything it cost him, did he ever get what money couldn't buy? Let's go back to where it all started. Young Édouard grows up in a mansion like this in the 1830s. Servants, silver, generational, everything. To understand a man who spends his life chasing respect, start with the first person who refused to give it to him. His father, a judge who already knows exactly what his son's gonna be. Édouard, enough! You'll study law. Petition denied. Listen to your father. It's the law in this house. Well, then pass your sentence, Your Honor. So they ship him with the Navy all the way to South America. He was supposed to study on board, get some discipline. Instead, he sketches the crew the whole way there. But somewhere on that trip, something happens that isn't funny at all. In Rio, his innocent eyes see slavery for the first time. He never forgets it. And this is where it starts. The idea that'll get him laughed out of every room in Paris. Paint what's real. After 6 months of hands-on naval training, he comes home and fails the exam. Édouard, you can't even get into the Navy? Then maybe you should just paint. Oh, he did. He joins the studio of Thomas Couture, the perfect teacher for a young man who wants to be someone. Gods, emperors, Roman orgies, but tastefully. Yeah, I'm not feeling this. Sir, have you ever been to one of these? This is art, Manet. But what about the street outside, the real people? Out! Manet stays, but his real school is the Louvre, where he copies the painters Couture skipped, especially the Spanish ones, like Velázquez and Goya. So he starts painting his own way. His first real attempt, this drunk from the streets, painted like an emperor. You're joking, right? A drunkard, framed. He's real, that's the point. That's not art. Then I'll make my own. And he does. He paints a Spanish singer his way. Loose and alive. And the Salon gives him an honorable mention. The same thing Couture hated, the Salon just rewarded it. He just had no idea what it would cost him. In 1863, Manet finally gets into the Paris Salon, the biggest art show in the world. For about 5 minutes, the jury rejects it, so he ends up in the Salon de Refusés, the Salon of Rejects. And Parisians don't get angry yet. They laugh in his face first. Here's what's strange though. Paris loves a nude. The Salon is full of naked women, goddesses, nymphs, Venuses everywhere. So why is this one a scandal? Because she isn't a goddess. And she doesn't care. There's no, oh, it's Venus, it's fine. She's just a Parisian woman sitting naked next to 2 men in suits. Manet just killed the mythology. And suddenly Paris was staring at what these paintings had always really been. Intellectual, soft-born. And they could not forgive him for that. He wasn't trying to start a riot. He thought it was beautiful. And that wasn't his only secret. Manet marries Suzanne, the family's old piano teacher. And there's a boy, Léon. For years, Manet called him Suzanne's little brother. Was Léon his son or his father's? Manet painted him his whole life, but never called him son. Manet's biggest scandal wasn't a secret at all. Remember that mob with umbrellas from the start? The picnic made Paris laugh. This one made them riot. Laying there like a Renaissance goddess, except every Parisian in the room instantly knows she's no goddess. She's a courtesan, a lady of the night, and she's more than cool with it. Paris goes crazy. People come to the Salon just to be offended. They're actually hitting her. Canes, umbrellas, fists, whatever they can grab. So the museum hangs her super high where nobody can reach her. And Manet? Crushed again. He wanted a medal. And he got a mob. But one guy stands up for him. A young writer named Émile Zola tells all of Paris, "You are wrong, and one day you'll be ashamed you couldn't see it." Manet paints his portrait as a thank you. At least one person gets it. But the real twist? While Paris hates Manet, these young painters just worship him. The man Paris wanted gone was about to become king. There was just one problem. He never wanted the crown. By now, Manet is famous. Just not the way he dreamed. Come with me. This is the crew. The most dangerous young painters in Paris, all in one studio. And look who's at the center. That's our Édouard, the joke of the salon. And to these guys, he's the master. There's Monet, Renoir, and that's Zola, the one writer who had his back when nobody else did. Night after night, they're here trying to blow up the old rules. And it all comes back to him, our man at the easel. Paris couldn't stand him, but these guys would have followed him anywhere. But there's one face in that room he can't stop looking at. Brilliant, beautiful Berthe Morisot, his favorite model and maybe more. He painted her like no one else, and the way she looked back at him, come on. But she marries his brother Eugene. Some people you can only love on canvas. His young crew finally breaks from the salon and throws their own rebel show, the birth of Impressionism. And it only exists because Manet went first. He took the beating that showed them it could be done. So they beg him to join. He says no, every time for the rest of his life. Because all Manet ever wanted was for the establishment that mocked him to finally call him one of their own. So the students became the legends. Monet, Renoir, Degas, names the whole world would know. And their teacher? Still outside the salon, waiting to be let in. By the time Paris is finally ready to love him, his body was already failing. Syphilis had been eating at him for years. His legs were the first to go. And then, after 20 years of knocking, the door finally opens. In 1881, the Salon hands him a medal. The state gives him the Legion of Honor. Everything he chased his whole life, he got it. And he was too sick to stand and take it. So what does a dying man paint? The happiest room in Paris. Music, champagne, 1,000 people. Grab a glass. To you, Édouard. But look who's serving us. Now really look at her. Surrounded by all that noise and 1,000,000 miles away. Maybe that's how Édouard always felt. The most charming man in every room and never quite in it. In his final weeks, he paints the flowers friends leave at his bedside. The man who scandalized the nation, painting flowers till the very end. And in the spring of 1883, our Édouard faded with him at 51. So let's go back to where it all started, that painting near the ceiling, the mob, the umbrellas. Here's what none of them understood. They thought they were defending tradition, but they were standing in front of the future, beating it back with umbrellas, because Manet was right. He belonged there. No, not for the money, the name, the charm. He belonged there because he gave everything for it. Painting through mockery, through illness, through a body that was dying. He never asked to be called great. He left them no choice but to admit it. But honestly, forget the medals in the salon. What bigger testament is there than these guys? So, who's next? Tell me in the comments and we'll go there together. Until then, Manet, you're watching the furnace, right? Yeah.